I'm young, I don't understand the historical politics of where we're coming from. And when I defend our country, they say, no, you're trying to divide this. Look, you'll never hear me coming out to say things that are irrelevant about certain leaders. What I say is based on ideologies. What I say is based on the ideological narrative that people are pursuing. But to come and mock our country based on the passing of our president, that was wrong. And then we saw another Nikom come here to say Mwanawasa died because he was trying to affect regime change. Therefore, Hichilema is going to go through the same stuff. These are people that are completely out of touch with reality, the political history of where we are coming from. They can't even articulate, the economies of our nations. And so when we dispute that, it is not that we're trying to cause confusion. There's never going to be war between our two nations. Our two nations have always stood side by side, supporting each other by means of trade. And we must resolve our issues diplomatically. But if people are saying wrong things, they must be corrected. It is wrong for somebody to come here on Twitter and mock the death of our president. President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, the third president of our country, was one that led the pioneering of Zambian manufacturing jobs. That the Zambian economy was once more able to stand on its own 2 feet. The roads of our country were being constructed under the Mwanawasa regime. And our people remember him for that. And so for Patrick Chinamasa to come on Twitter and say those things, it was unfortunate. And therefore we must call him out to say this is wrong. We have lost 2 presidents before and we know the pain of losing a head of state. For somebody to come here and say those things because of politics, because they want to drive a political narrative, we must correct that. And that is why you see me on social media speaking about these things, not just on social media, but also engaging our people to say, look, our president has been in power for 2 years. But it must not mean, our people must not mistake that to believe that everything that was said, then change is going to arrive at a lightning speed. There's been damage for 10 years. You don't expect that damage to be fixed instantly. But also we must engage in a politics, not just here at home, but within the SADC region, where we put our nations first before individuals. That political parties will come and go. Nations will remain. That is why sometimes when I see something that is, I believe is not right, you hear me speak. And so what Patrick Chinamasa said was wrong. And what makes it even more painful is that 2 weeks earlier, he was at our state house. And then he went to the state house in Botswana. He was in Gaborone. I don't know what he was doing, moving around state house to state house. And what is even more painful is that 4 weeks later, he goes and insults the integrity of the Zambian people, the 20 million Zambian people, by mocking the death of our leader. And then after that, we are seeing other people come on social media to say, no, Kalimbwe is saying this and this is trying. These are people that are just trying to ensure that those that do not have the full knowledge of our political history are hoodwinked. Even Edgar
Joseph, whilst you're on that point, I want to ask you, that they accuse you of meddling in Zimbabwean political affairs. How do you push back against that?
Well, this narrative has been spread over and over again. They say you are meddling in political affairs. Look, I've got the freedom to be able to associate with whomsoever shows me kindness. Nobody is going to tell me you can't associate with what. When Fikile Mbalula comes on social media here to call, he called me names in February. He was calling me names, Fikile. When Fikile says that, people don't say, no, Fikile is meddling in these things. When I speak about things that have to do with democratic reforms, no, Kalimbwe is meddling. No, Kalimbwe must not say this. When Fikile says things, Fikile is a revolutionary. He's supporting, he's against imperialist interest. When we talk about democratic reforms, I know you are supporting the West. People even come here to post pictures. Whenever there's a picture of me and a white person, then I'm a puppet. People come here to look for whatever pictures are on social media, whatever pictures are on Google with a white person, and then they say, no, I'm selling out. Now when we are fighting against this guy who was a Pan-African Parliament president, there's been all this political rhetoric being spoken about. And so you can't have double standards to say when somebody supports you is a revolutionary. When somebody supports democratic reforms, then they're meddling and they're puppets. No, we can't say that. Edgar Lungu was in Harare about 3 to 4 days ago. When he came, it was like like a day before Patrick Chinamasa went on social media to insult the death of our third president. And I said here, and even on Facebook, everywhere, I've been very consistent in terms of my political beliefs from the very start to the end. I said, look, when you insult the death of our president, a man who helped rebuild the Zambian economy, a man who helped create a next wave of Zambian manufacturing jobs, when you insult his death and say he died because he was meddling into the affairs of another country, then he's insulting the integrity and the collective intelligence of the Zambian people, politically or otherwise. But Edgar Lungu decided to get on a plane to go to Harare to the very same people and smile with the very same man that insulted our country. How do we take that? And when I come here to talk about things, people they unleash all sorts of political insult. They say all sorts of things without having any shred of intellectual wisdom to understand where things are coming from. Even this guy that is in Kenya, they come here and say all sorts of things. But what we are doing is that this country, Zambia, will continue to defend the integrity of our country. Who continue to defend that which Kenneth Kaunda left for us. And part of the principles that Kenneth Kaunda did is that he formed the frontline states. The frontline states was Kaunda's, pedigree. When he formed the frontline state, he helped Zimbabwe be liberated. The entire SADC region was liberated from Lusaka. Liberation movements were set up camp in Lusaka, here in our nation's capital. That was a vision of Kenneth Kaunda. When the frontline states was formed, it was that we must fight apartheid South Africa. There were other people that stood against Kenneth Kaunda to say, no, Kaunda is interfering in other nations. And even here at home in Zambia, there are people that don't respect Kenneth Kaunda as much. Why? Because they feel Kaunda interfered in other people's interests. But Kaunda was clear. He was unequivocal in his political conviction that Zambia's freedom is not complete until the entire SADC region is fully free. That's what he did with the frontline state. Even before, if you look at the political history, before the frontline state, there's what they call the Lusaka Protocol, which was formed in 1979. The Lusaka Protocol was formed to ensure that the entire region, when Zimbabwe was fighting, when ZAPU forces were going either to Mozambique or to Lusaka, Kaunda was clear. Even when SWAPO was here, set up camp in Lusaka, they were clear. The ANC, they set up camp here. And so the new generation of Zambian leaders will continue to speak the truth, and that the truth will set us free, and that the freedom to speak the truth shall never be denied. That is my take.
I've been sent, a question that they want you to respond to, and it's pertaining to a post that you did put out on the 6th of September 2023, where you said Lungu returned to Lusaka last night, but the question is who funded the trip of PF members? And you went on to list Lubinda, Nakachinda, Mwamba, hijackers of SADC party to Harare. There could be external forces trying to undermine our Zambian democracy with Lungu's help. These forces will fail. So the question that is coming from the person that has sent me that is, what do you mean by that?
Look, comrades, compatriots, we have always been speaking collectively and unequivocally within the region, within the SADC context, to say we must support each other in democratic reforms and in any way whatsoever. When these issues began, I personally felt bad because I've seen my country make good decisions and bad ones too. I've seen Zambian presidents come and go. I might be quite young. People might say you are just a 93. They say a lot of things. But I was old enough to live through some of these Zambian presidents. I've seen Zambian presidents make good decisions and bad ones. Manawasa made good decisions for the interests of our people. And then followed, after he passed, they followed Rupia Banda. After Rupia Banda, Michael Sata came in. And then Edgar Lungu, and then now our leader. These political steps that were taken by our country must be respected. But when somebody insults our nation's third president, why do you go and sit on the very same table with somebody that insults your predecessor? Says Mwanawasa's death was as a result of his interference into the affairs of another nation. That is wrong. And then we saw the 6th president of Zambia go there and sit on the same table with Chinamasa, smiling with the very same man that came here on Twitter to insult the collective intelligence of the Zambian people. And so when somebody says, what do you mean? Edgar Lungu has been trying to cause havoc ever since the return that he got. He was on the copper belt. He's been saying a lot of things. These people have been saying a lot of things. And we must be clear that our differences must be ideological. We must never go for character assassination as a people. And this shouldn't just apply to Zambian politics, but to the entire regional politics. We must debate and agree to disagree. And so when those things were happening, my argument was that why is it that you're going to sit on the very same table to smile with the very same man that mocked the death of our nation's third president? That was what my argument was. And we continue to be clear to say our country played a very important role in the total liberation of the SADC region under the Kaunda regime. Zambia was bombed to free SADC countries. That was what Kaunda did. And some of us that are still younger will continue to ensure that our country is transferred successfully into the next generation of Zambian leaders, and that will continue to speak the truth, whether here at home or abroad, that our country, domestically, the domestic politics of our nation shall be fixed. And part of fixing the domestic politics of our country, that we must have leaders that care for the masses of our people, the 20 million Zambians. I come from Sesheke in western Zambia, one of the most forgotten places in this country. The road from Livingstone to Sesheke, which connects our country to the Walvis Bay corridor in Namibia, is one of the most disgraceful things in our country. It's a disgrace. But we need leaders that are honest enough to admit when they are wrong, and that they must fix the issues that our country is facing. You don't need to belong to a political party to do these things. And that is what we're also even telling our young people, to say, join political movements, begin to appreciate that which is happening in the country. Because we don't want to raise a generation of people that are grooving now. And then when time comes to resolve and to hand over the batons of leadership from one generation to the next, they fail to resolve those issues. Why? Because they don't have a clear political understanding from the beginning to the end. And so that is my response to that question. When we spoke about those things, my argument was that I didn't think it was right for Zambia's fifth president, President Lungu, to go and sit and smile with the very same man that mocked our country's passing of President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa.
Right. I thank you very much, for that. If you allow me, Joseph, I don't know what is your time like. If I can keep you right there on the speaker's platform and pause these questions when they are sent, to me, or there might be someone who is on this platform that might want to engage with you. But if you allow us, to do that, this is what I would then say, ladies and gentlemen. If Joseph agrees to stay here and be part and parcel of the panel, because and when it becomes a panel, I will protect him with my all. So when you're coming here to talk to him and engage him, make sure you are engaging him on matters of facts. Or let's not go down to personality attacks. Let us engage him on the things that he has raised, especially the mocking of the death of former President Mwanawasa. So we need to have that conversation that is free of insults, that is free of anything that might raise tempers on this platform. And if you do that, rest assured, I will remove you from the speaker's platform. You can go and listen. You can go and join, the others in the listening, section. So, my brother Joseph, before I bring in other people that might have, questions, what I did today was I took a post that was put out there by Rutendo, Matinyarare, where he said, where he spoke about, the death of President Mwanawasa, and said that it was because of he was orchestrating an invasion of Zimbabwe, and then he went on to bring in President HH, and he said that he will soon see that you don't mess, with Africa. So he came onto that post, and he said this is free speech. As Zimbabwe is not used to free speech. I don't see a threat there here either. Because I had said, Rutendo, come here and answer, for yourself. This is what you said, and I believe that it is out of that our brothers in Zambia are saying, why is it you want to? Why are you putting threats on our president? It. So I wanted you to respond, to that because I don't know if you had seen that, but I wanted you to, respond, to that, and also the final question that I'm going to take from the inbox, because I want to deal with people that are here. Who are prepared to engage with David here. I mean, with our brother, Joseph here. The question that is being asked is to say, was it Chinamasa or it was Rutendo who celebrated the death of President Manawas? So if you can respond quickly, to that, my brother, and then we'll open up, the floor.
Well, thank you very much. Look, I've got no time to discuss Rutendo. We have got no time to discuss what Rutendo said. I'll talk about what the old man said. Look, Patrick Chinamasa came on social media on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday? And he's got this tendency of waking up early in the morning when we're still sleeping. And then he posts a tweet. Even the last time when he called me a Zambian motormouth, I woke up, it was 4 o'clock. I don't know if he's not supposed to be with his family. And then he comes and tweets. He tweeted that President, he sent a whole lot of article. He wrote a long article explaining what happened, to say, no, this and this. And then he's saying in that article to say, President Mwanawasa was on the verge of, in Egypt, was on the verge of confronting President Mugabe, and then he died in that process. And that he was working with the imperialists. That our leader was working with the imperialist forces in that form, Tony Blair, to undermine the regime across the river. That is an insult to say he died because of that. How do you expect people to take that? Look, our nation, we've been independent for over 50 years. Zambia has seen presidents come and go. Political parties have come and gone. Our country has remained, and it will continue to remain. A new generation of Zambians will continue to rise and take over the batons of leadership. Just like Kenneth Kaunda spoke in 1978, when he was speaking at the time of Joshua Nkomo. He said, we have sent Joshua Nkomo to go to Salisbury, present-day Harare, to go and discuss with Ian Smith. But my thought, that I'm quoting what Kenneth Kaunda said, is that I have failed to negotiate with Ian Smith. But I've told Joshua Nkomo to say, my brother, go and discuss. Maybe you're going to get a better outcome. And then he says, Nkomo retained and said, I've also failed to negotiate with these guys. And then he says, as Zambians will be born out of our blood. That is what Kaunda said. Zambians will be born out of our blood and will continue to speak that which is true. They will take over the leadership batons of our country. And like I said at the beginning, we have always been part of the federation. We will never go to war. We will always resolve our issues. We must always resolve our issues diplomatically and economically. Because we are people that have always held each other in the Rhodesia Federation, from Nyantaran to Southern Rhodesia to Northern Rhodesia. We must never be divided by individuals that come here and laugh and mock the passing of other countries' presidents. We must never be divided by that. And so that is my response to Chinamasa. Go and read this article. It's still there. People are aggrieved by that. Rutendo right. got no time to respond to him.
Right. Okay. Okay. On Rutendo, I've got that message loud and clear. But somebody just posted that Chinamasa does not have an X account or a Twitter account. I don't know how far true that is. But anyway, I want to have people come through. My brother, I think you've given me the permission to get people. So as I have said, ladies and gentlemen, let us respect each other on this platform. Hard work, Africa.
Thank you, host.